Living with the Harley Benton Deluxe series, my goodness. I think this is the Music Man copy. It's passive and it's the 5-string. So I've had it for a couple of years. I did an unboxing video on it and I have recorded with it. It does sound, you can get Music Man sounds out of it. They're cheap basses. That's quite a gap. They are cheap basses, but for what I needed it to do, it has done quite well. And that big humbucker at the back does get you a kind of Music Man sound. So for the money, I'm going to continue to say it's a great bass. The bridge is quite cheap. I was thinking of upgrading that, but again, on a cheap bass, is there any point in spending any real money on it? So what issues do I have with the guitar? There's a 12th fret again. There's a 12th fret. For recording, you don't want any buzzes or rattles coming from your guitar or your bass. So the action on it's been set pretty high. The action's been set pretty high. The tone controls, each one of the coils has an independent passive volume control and there's a tone control at the back. With both of them wound up, it does have a Music Man kind of pop. The tone does quite well, that tames it a bit. Music Man's by nature are very bright in the mid-range and the treble. The turning one of them down and just using it as a single coil at the back, it gives you another sound as well, which is actually okay, and it doesn't buzz or rattle too bad. So what are the main issues with it? The action's too high for my liking. The profile of the neck at the nut is really quite fat. It's okay as you get further down. So it's not an easy bass to play, and it's not a particularly fast bass. The main issue I had was when it came out the factory. Whoever strung it in the factory has only put one wind round about the tuning pegs, the bit that sticks out in the tuning pegs. So that didn't pull the string down far enough for it not to buzz at the nut. So as you can see here, I bodge jobbed it and put a pile of cable ties round about the top of the neck to pull the strings closer to the nut. And that's just like a temporary fix, but it kind of worked. I think there should be another couple of these on it. However, I went to a guitar shop today and I have bought this little metal bar which will go across the strings at the top to pull them closer. I'm going to take the factory strings off. I've had it for a couple of years, it still sounds pretty bright. I'm not a fan of overly bright bass strings anyway. But I'm going to take these off, put more winds round about the tuning pegs to see if that brings the strings back down. If it doesn't, that thing cost £5 and the guy gave me the screws for nothing, so that's a little upgrade I can put on there. It didn't cost a lot of money. However, I'm fairly confident, once I've wound the string round a few times, the profile behind the nut, you can see that's coming off. It's more or less a straight line. But I think if it's been wound round 3 or 4 times, it's going to pull down at an angle and it'll stop the buzzing. So this is part 1 of living with the Harley Benton Deluxe series. I can't remember the model number, I'll put it in the video. So I'll do 2. The next one, the other thing that I bought today was a straight edge ruler. I'll stick that across the fret and see See how everything lines up. So take the strings off it, put some new strings on. I like light gauge strings in my bass, so I don't know if I'll have to have a tweak at the truss rod or not. Leave longer windings on the tuning pegs, and let's see if that gets rid of that rattle. I said it in other videos, I think it was £120 or something. You're not buying that. I've not tried other cheap basses in the market, but for 120 quid I think the thing's great. The other issue I had was I tried taking the pick guard, is that what you call that? I tried taking that thing off it, and there's a massive big hole, right, where the pickup sits in. It's routed really badly, and there's a big gap there, so you can't really run it without the pick guard. I could take that off and spray it black, I suppose, but again, it's just a cheap bass. I needed something that had a low B for a song I was working on. But anyway, this is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, and we'll see if we can remedy this issue. Right. Thanks for watching. Bye.